probably heard the saying, don't pick a job, pick a boss. While there's definitely some truth to that, is it really the only thing to think about when you make a big career move? In today's video, I'm going to answer this question. My boss is leaving for another job. Should I follow? I will also share how I personally use these strategies in this video to move into my first vice president position at a Fortune 500 company, but with a few key points that you need to pay attention to. So now let's dive right in. I will start with the risk. Just because your manager was successful in your current organization does not mean that they will continue to have the same level of success in a new environment. A new company comes with different stakeholders, a new organizational culture, and very likely a new market, product, services, or solution. Their leadership style might have worked perfectly in the current environment, but there's no guarantee that it will translate as smoothly into a new one. If they struggle to adapt, it could impact not just their success, but also yours if you follow them. A very well-known example is Google's former executive Marissa Mayer. She played a key role in Google's early success. During her time at Google, she was instrumental in launching and developing some of Google's most successful products, from Google Search, Gmail, and Google Maps. When Marissa Mayer left Google to become the CEO of Yahoo in 2012, many of her former colleagues followed her. They hoped to replicate the success they had at Google, but Yahoo was a completely different challenge. The company was struggling with declining market share, internal politics, and a very unclear vision in the rapidly changing tech industry. No matter how hard she tried, she could not turn around Yahoo. In her 5 years as the CEO, Yahoo's revenue remained relatively stagnant, and many of her team members who followed her from Google find themselves in a very difficult situation. Some of them even got fired by her. So quite often, following a successful leader into an entirely new environment does not guarantee the future success. The second risk following your manager into a new company, you could end up being too closely tied to their political standing within the new organization. If you are seen as their right hand, even without intention, you might exclude yourself from building relationships with other important stakeholders. Everything is fine on the surface if your manager is well respected, influential, and is successful. But if they face any conflict or political risks in the new organization, this could directly impact your stability and your own career growth. Personally, I'm not a big fan of following a former manager into a new organization. However, I have done so when they were promoted within the same organization and same business unit, then promoted me to their leadership team. That's a slightly different story because in that case, I was not overly dependent on just one person. I already had a strong connection with stakeholders across the organization, and I've built a reputation and network within the group and our business unit over a decade long. At the time, many of my peers in the management team got promoted in the same way I did. We all have worked with the same leader before, and when this leader was promoted to the president position, several of us were promoted along with him. So this made us a much stronger team because we have already worked together and achieved great success under the same president leadership. And in the same organization, which culture, stakeholder, and the way of working were pretty much the same, we were able to replicate the success to a broader, more global scope. This case is quite different from joining a manager at a completely new organization where the only person you might be able to rely on is your former boss. It can be especially risky if things don't go well as planned and you find yourself without a broader support system that you once had. Here's a scenario that I often see with members of my coaching program. A former manager who left the company a few years ago reconnects with you at a networking event or over a lunch meeting. During the conversation, they tell you that they are hiring and would love for you to join them. Again, you worked really well together maybe 3 to 5 years ago and both of you appreciated the teamwork at the time. Now, here is why this can be risky. The first reason is that you have grown and developed since your last time working together. What they remembered is who you were back then, which no longer represent your current competence and the leadership you have already developed. So when they are offering you a role, it is almost like they're thinking of you from a few years ago, not who you are today. Yes, you did save the entire recruitment process, which I know can be sometimes overwhelming and comes with a lot of preparation and stress. But at the same time, you lost a proper interview process to present your new narrative an updated identity and your value. They are offering you the role based on their memory of who you were years ago. And this is why in most cases, you get an offer that is below where you are currently in terms of strategic level, scope, or even compensation. By the way, I want to let you know now you can join my free executive masterclass. In the class, you will get my step-by-step roadmap on how after being stagnant in director positions for 8 years, I eventually advanced to senior executive positions in Fortune 500 companies. You will also learn the mistake I made and the wrong things I worked on. It's 1 hour long and it's completely free. So who is this class for? It is specially designed for directors, managers, and team leaders with international career. And you are a high performer. You have been consistently growing your career up until now. In recent years, you find yourself stuck in middle management. So if this sounds like you, I'd love to invite you to join this free executive masterclass. You can check the link below to save your spot. It's completely free. Another risk is, of course, the financial loss. If you follow your manager to a new organization, you might be leaving behind long-term incentives that could have quite big financial value. For example, if you have been within your current organization for a while, you may have built up stock options, bonuses, or other long-term incentives that are tied to your continued service for a certain amount of years. Walking away from these could mean leaving up to 6 to 7 figures of financial rewards on the table. On top of the financial loss, following your manager could cut off your future career growth within your organization that you are currently at. You may have invested years building relationships, earning political capital, and positioning yourself for that promotion. Another point you need to consider, which personally I have made this mistake, is that if you have followed the same manager for years and you become used to their specific leadership style, this can limit your flexibility and your ability to adapt to other leadership style and other career paths. Now let's talk about some advantages that if you do follow, is that you get to keep the support and sponsorship you've had. If your manager has been a key player in your growth and you worked well together as a team, achieving great results, right? It's likely that every time they move up, you will move up with them as well. If that's the case, following them could give you peace of mind. You already know each other very well and you are very likely already overcome any misunderstandings or obstacles working together. You've developed a high performance working relationship, so you understand how they think, how they make decisions, and what they need from you. And at the same time, they know how you perform, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and where you might need some support. Being very familiar with each other's working style makes it easier for them to help you grow as well. If they really want you to follow them into their new organization, they're very likely taking the ownership of your success, and they feel responsible for helping you to settle into the new environment and making sure you feel comfortable in your new role. The second benefit of following your manager is the potential for a more senior role, a better compensation, because your boss already knows your current career goal, your ambition, and your salary. So if they are to headhunt you into their new organization or a different business unit, if it's an internal move, they understand that the offer has to be better than what you currently have. So whether it's a role with a larger scope of responsibilities, a more strategic position, or a new challenge that excites you and aligns with your future development, the opportunity is very likely to be a step up. And of course, a better compensation is often part of the package as well. And here's a little caveat. Sometimes the reason your manager wants you to follow them is not because of career development. It could be that they know you are not getting along with your new manager or the team, and they are offering you an exit from an unpleasant situation. And in these cases, they might bring you over with a similar compensation package simply to get you out of a tough spot. Another big advantage of following your manager is the chance to join a new organization or a new business unit if it's an internal move. A new culture and environment can open up new opportunities that could feel more aligned with your value and your career goals. So for example, if you feel stuck in your current organization because of a fixed perception of you, this change could be exactly what you need. One of the members of my coaching program faced this exact challenge. He got feedback that he lacked executive presence because he had trouble influencing senior executives, especially in situations where there was conflict. He always had a wide exposure to the C-suite team because his work had a big impact, and every time he presented in a senior executive meeting or to the board, the perception that he wasn't great at influencing the C-suite just got reinforced. So when he was shortlisted for a vice president position, that old perception still worked against him, even though he had made tremendous improvement. So the thing is, he has spent 17 years in the same organization, and that deeply established perception of him was incredibly hard to change in just a few months. In a case like this, a fresh start in a new organization or new business unit might be exactly what's needed to rebuild your personal brand and your reputation. Plus, you'll be exposed to new ways of working and thinking, right? Different challenges that can push you to grow in an exciting way. Now watch this video and understand how you can change your reputation at work. I'll see you there.